No, I like painting. I don't like trim.
You do the landlord special, just paint over it all. Honestly, you can paint the ceiling that saves the wall, and you don't have to worry about trim.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it easy.
Yeah.
Just
That's what I learned in my kids' bedroom. Why are you painting this room 4 colors? Because it looks really cool and it's a half and half.
Okay, so we're good. We can start, but I just want to remind everybody, if you're talking, the camera will look for you. So it's best to be quiet while she's presenting so that the camera will watch her only. If you start side talking, the camera's gonna look at you too.
And so I'm gonna stand on that side of the.
That's fine.
Okay.
Once you start, I'll get it pointed at you.
Now, is this link on?
Mm-hmm.
On what? The website?
It's on our FBUSD TV.
And we should avoid introductions. Yeah, we're just going straight into the presentation.
You can introduce yourself.
Myself, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not me. Look at her. Just start talking about something because it thinks I'm the talker. You're retarded.
All right. Is it looking for me? Keep talking. I am talking. Still? Does it mean really?
Do you want me to put the speaker down on the floor and prep?
It's
Talking.
This was not my idea. I want this little. Maybe move around a little. Maybe I think it's trying to find you.
Technology, right? Don't record any of this and post it. Talking to an electronic owl.
Let's see how to sit down. It's picking up the movement also. So.
Will it like rotate?
Mm-hmm. Once it's on you, it'll follow you.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Oh, that's a good idea. Is it following me? Yeah. Okay. And it can hear me? We're good? Yeah? Talking.
Okay.
So it got me when I was up close. Maybe it's too far away?
That shouldn't matter. It should be able to see the whole room.
Yeah? We're good? We want to start?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Thanks for being here today. My name is Elizabeth Matheny. I'm the Employee Benefits Manager for RESIG, and I'm going to do a presentation today to go over some of the benefits that are being offered to you through the RESIG and CISC partnership. So I'm going to do this. Okay. So first we're going to go over the Platinum Plus Proactive Care Plan. This plan was introduced last year by CISC, which is Self-Insured Schools of California. They are a statewide JPA through which we purchase our Blue Shield coverage for the Mendocino counties, and then we have our Kaiser coverage through them for our Sonoma counties groups. The proactive care plans are a special type of a PPO that were just introduced last year. These plans don't have a deductible like all of the other plans that are being offered to you do. They are a set copayment amount for most services with a $0 copayment for mental health, therapy, preventative care, primary care physician, specialist. It really takes away the guesswork out of how does my deductible work? What am I going to have to pay when I go in? I don't know what I'm going to pay. And if I don't know what I'm gonna pay, it might mean that I don't get the services when I need. So this plan also encourages a primary care physician and patient relationship. Studies show that without a primary care physician, making sure you get your regular screenings, immunizations, that kind of thing, the level of seriousness of the diagnosis can be much greater and therefore much costlier, and we don't want that for any of our members. It is still a PPO, so you can still refer out to a specialist if you need to. You don't have to go through your primary care physician like an HMO, but it does, again, kind of centralize your care under your primary care physician. This particular product is an Anthem product. I think this is a wonderful plan, but since you have coverage through Blue Shield currently, Anthem and Shield are basically same, but we highly recommend that you go on to anthem.com/CA/CISC to ensure that the providers that you already have care established with are going to be in-network providers. This plan is also the most expensive plan out of everything that's being offered. So kind of general rule of thumb, as your premiums increase, the out-of-pocket expenses you might pay while you incur services will be much less. And the opposite is true. As those premiums decrease, the amount that you would be expected to pay as you utilize services will increase. These are the traditional PPO options that are available to you. And it's important to note that these are the traditional PPOs. I'll get into that in a second. You have the 100% G, the 90% G, and then you have 4 different 80% plans, the 80E, G, K, and M. These plans are called 190 or 80 because once the deductible has been met, you move into a cost share. On the 100% plan, once you've met your deductible, you go into a 0% cost share. The insurance picks up almost everything. Once you move into a 90% plan, it's a 90-10 split between you and the insurance company. And then for the 80% plans, it's an 80-20 split. You're responsible for the 20%, they pick up the 80. The deductibles listed here. A deductible is the amount that you have to pay upfront out of pocket before your insurance kicks in. So we have, again, higher cost, lower deductibles on this side. And then as you move that way, the coverage gets less expensive, but your increased out-of-pocket expenses increase. So it's a $500 deductible for single, $1,000 for family. Same for the 90G. It's a $300 deductible or a $600 deductible if you're single or family, $500 or $1,000, sorry about that typo. For the 80G, $1,000 or $2,000, and $3,000 or $6,000. So if you're a single person, you're gonna live on the left side. If you are a family, and that means you plus 1 or more, then you're gonna live on the right-hand side of the deductible amounts. The out-of-pocket maximum is the level below that. This is the ceiling or the cap on the plan that's placed there to protect you from paying out stupid amounts of money. If for some reason you were hospitalized in the ICU for a while, multiple weeks of hospitalization, something really, really terrible, this is the most amount you would ever have to pay out of your pocket in a calendar year. So you won't pay more than $3,000 out of pocket. That does not include your premiums on the 100G, and then it increases significantly once you get over to the 80M. It's a $4,000 out-of-pocket maximum or an $8,000 out-of-pocket maximum. So, let me go here first. The primary care physician, urgent care specialists, you always have a set copayment amount, not subject to the deductible. So if you need to go in for a routine doctor's office visit, if you actually got sick and are scratchy in your throat, you're just gonna pay a set copayment amount regardless of where you are at with your deductible. So that's a nice thing. You get to avoid the deductible if you're just going in for standard services. We already went over the coinsurance after the deductible. That is based on the name of the plan. And then preventative services for all the plans that we discussed today are considered free. No deductible, no copayment, no cost share. Preventative services that remain preventative in nature are not subject to any out-of-pocket expenses. That's per the Affordable Care Act. If a preventative service becomes diagnostic in nature, then the cost shares do apply. So in the example that you're going for a routine colonoscopy, but they get in there and they find some polyps that they need to remove, now that service is no longer preventative because it's diagnostic, they've treated you. So keep that in mind. So I'm gonna go over these one more time. So on this, let's use the 80 because this is kind of where everybody's living. The 80K is what was identified as being most similar to the plan you have now. So if I live on the 80K and I'm a family, I'm gonna pay 100% of the cost of all of my services until I meet that $2,000 family deductible. If after we meet that deductible, we're still using services, I'm gonna pay 20% of the cost of those services out of pocket until I meet a $6,000 annual out of pocket maximum. If I need to go see my doctor, I just pay a $30 copayment. And that copayment changes depending on the level of coverage. You guys run currently on a plan year deductible and an annual out of pocket maximum, so July through June 30th of the following year. Your Stay Well benefits are ending June 30th. Your deductible will reset July 1st, just like it always does. Except now you have this wonky kind of 6 months to get through. So your deductible will reset July 1st, and then it will reset again on the calendar year, January 1st. After that, you will always be in a calendar year annual out-of-pocket maximum and deductible. During the next 6 months, so July through December, any services that apply to the deductibles listed here that are incurred between October and December 31st will roll over to your new calendar year deductible, and you won't have to meet the entire deductible. You just have to meet the difference between what you met in the last quarter of the year and what your actual deductible was. So if I get bad turkey on Thanksgiving, I end up in the ER with food poisoning. Let's say I pay $500 out of pocket. That $500 is gonna go towards my deductible. And then when I move into January 1st, on the ADM, I'm gonna only pay $2,500 of my deductible because I already met $500 in the last quarter of the calendar year. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The prescription drug benefits on these coverages also have a deductible, and that deductible also rolls over in the fourth quarter carryover. So the fourth quarter carryover provision applies to these traditional PPOs only, and that's important again to know that these are the traditional PPOs, and then the prescription drug deductible will roll over the fourth quarter carryover also. Couple extra things. The first 3 visits to a primary care are waived. That's per person per calendar year. So you're gonna start July, and the first 3 visits for you or any of your family members are gonna be free. I've gone in and forgotten where I was at with my appointments. They made me pay I shouldn't have. I get a check in the mail. So I get a $20 reimbursement check. I forgot I even paid it. Little happy surprise. Fourth quarter carryover, we already went over. The mental health services are through Blue Shield of California network only. There's no out-of-network reimbursement. So something good to remind you all of. I think that's it for the traditionals. I know I've talked to a lot of people who have concerns about air ambulance. I know you guys have kind of a air ambulance situation through Stay Well currently. You won't have that any longer once that ends June 30th, but air ambulance is covered in network on all of the plans. Even if you're picked up by an out-of-network ambulance, whether it's by chopper or by road, it's paid as an in-network ambulance. Okay. On the comparison in front of you, we just went over the traditional PPOs. This is the high deductible health plan. So there's 2 pieces of this. I'm going to talk about the medical portion first. The high deductible health plan is a high deductible set by the federal government on an annual basis. So they set what they consider to be a high deductible. This year it's $1,700 for a single or $34 for a family. On this plan, you're gonna pay 100% of the cost of services as you go until you've met that deductible. So if I go in, scratchy throat, I go see my provider, if that doctor charges $130 for that visit, that's what I'm paying there and then. If I need a generic antibiotic and the retail drug cost of that is $75, that's what I'm gonna pay at the pharmacy. Those amounts accumulate towards the 17 or the 34 if you're single or family. And then if you meet your deductible, you go into a 90-10 co-insurance split. The preventative services, same as the other plans, if they are truly preventative and do not become diagnostic in nature, you won't have to pay for them out of pocket. And then this plan, so there's the standalone high deductible health plan. You can have that only, and that'll cover you. There is an optional savings account component that works specifically with this plan called the health savings account. If you're familiar with a flexible spending account, it's very similar. You put pre-tax dollars aside, reducing your taxable income. You use those monies for out-of-pocket expenses as you go. The problem with the FSAs, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? With HSAs, you never lose that money. It will continue to accumulate. It is always yours. You might get penalized if you buy something that isn't a qualifying expense before age 65, but that money is yours. At age 65, it is yours. You were not penalized for using it. You're just taxed as income on whatever it is that you pull out of there, and that money is yours. We have some folks who've been on the HSA for a while. And they've accumulated a pretty good amount of money in their accounts, and they're going to use it for a retirement nest egg. We bank through Optum, which used to be Wells Fargo. They are a online bank only, or we bank with Redwood Credit Union. So if you elect to remain on the high deductible health plan and to set aside pre-tax dollars in that savings account, through pre-tax payroll deductions, you can work through one of these banks. If you don't like either of these banks, or you already have a bank that you work with, whatever it is, you don't have to participate on the monthly deductions. It just means you would take that tax credit at the end of the year when you file your taxes instead of seeing that come out of your paycheck on a pre-tax basis. Currently, contribution limits are $4,400 or $8,700 if you're a single or a family, and then there are what are called catch-up contributions. I think this is a little too detailed to go into just now, but if you're interested in the savings account piece of the high deductible health plan, and you do want to establish an account, we can talk to you about what that process looks like. I will always say, if you are interested in the health savings account piece, I recommend contacting a CPA or tax professional. We are not tax professionals, and you, the employee, are the account owner and are therefore required to maintain compliance with federal regulations. So if you open up an HSA, make sure you give your tax professional a call just to ensure that you are in compliance. You guys are offering another plan, the 2-tier MEC, minimal essential coverage. It means that this plan meets the requirements to be affordable by the Affordable Care Act standards. The minimal essential coverage that you all selected is a 2-tier minimal essential coverage. Spouses are annoyingly expensive, and therefore this plan does not offer spouse coverage. It's just you, the employee, or you, the employee, and your child or children. And whether that's one child or 10, it's single or many. No spouse coverage whatsoever. This plan is definitely more of a catastrophic coverage. It is a $9,000 deductible for a single or $18,000 for a family. The interesting thing about this plan is that the deductible is the out-of-pocket maximum. So once if and when you meet your deductible, you've also met your out-of-pocket maximum for the year. you go into a 0% cost share for the remainder of that calendar year. This plan, anyone's gonna look at it and think, absolutely not $18,000 for a family, that doesn't make any sense. But if you look at the savings per month on the premium, and you're one of those people who like to bet against yourselves, we had somebody who made a comment at the MCOE meeting about basically self-insurance. If I'm saving this much money on my paycheck every month from a premium because it's so much lower or it's covered by the district contribution, and I set aside a couple $100s every year or every month, if and when something happens and I have to pay, I have this money set aside. So kind of an interesting way to approach it if you're comfortable kind of self-insuring. Preventative services here, again, same as all of the others per Affordable Care Act standards, not allowed to be charged. Yeah, probably not a lot of people gonna enroll in this plan. We did have somebody at MCOE take it for just 1 month, for the month that she's bridging a gap between that and then becoming Medicare eligible. So it definitely has its places, and it's gonna be the cheapest coverage that is available. Okay, the waiver of active benefit enrollment, or love our acronyms in the health insurance industry, we call this the WABI. This is not a traditional true opt-out. This means that you can elect to decline coverage through the group if you are a 0.90 FTE or more, and you are required to have coverage, but you have coverage elsewhere through a spouse or partner, and you really don't want to take the district coverage. You have the option to elect the WABI. It's not a true opt-out. It is basically a waiver for exchange of premium. CISC is a self-insured pool. They are statewide. So with any kind of risk pooling, we need to balance the people who are using it for those higher cost claims with the people who are young and healthy and not generating claims, right? That's how we build stability. If we had a whole bunch of people saying, no, I have coverage elsewhere, I don't need this, we're gonna have all sorts of adverse risk invited into the pool. So to avoid that, there is a small premium that is offered to CISC in exchange for the employee's ability to opt out of coverage if you have coverage elsewhere. The premium is so low that the district cap will cover it in full. Any full-time employees would not have to pay anything out of pocket to be able to waive benefits. A couple of things to call out. If you are covered under or eligible to be covered under a spouse or partner's plan elsewhere, we do need to see proof that you are. Some employers, not all, so it's important to understand, some employers require that if your dependent has access to coverage through their own employer, we don't want to cover them. We don't want that risk on our group coverage. So it's important to make sure that if you do have coverage elsewhere through a spouse or partner's employer, that you check in with their benefits administrator to be sure that you can opt out here to be on their coverage only. The WABI does not affect dental or vision coverage, life insurance, ancillary benefits, anything like that. It simply does not offer a medical or a prescription plan. There are a couple of added value benefits that go with it. You have access to the employee assistance program, and we'll get into that in a little bit. MD Live is a great telehealth benefit. There's additional telehealth coverage through Teladoc, personal health coaching through Vita, and then screenings and flu shots that do come with even opting out through the WABI. Okay, I kind of already explained this. This was that fourth quarter carryover provision that applies only to those traditional PPOs, the 190 and 80% plans. So I'm not gonna stay here for very long. If you wanna review this, we'll get that slide deck out to you guys. This is a really important slide. I don't want to scare anybody, but once this was first released, we had a few people with high cost claims. We had one retiree who had like a $68,000 claim that was her responsibility to pay. So ambulatory surgery centers will charge a fraction of the cost for these 5 procedures that a facility hospital will. And I've talked to people, the difference between one and the other, their bills are extreme. So the site of care benefit, this is a cost mitigation strategy built into the program by CISC. If you need cataract surgery, arthroscopy, colonoscopy, upper GI endoscopy with or without biopsy, we highly recommend you call Blue Shield. That first and foremost, that's just a good idea. You need to make sure that if you are having one of these, you look for an in-network ambulatory surgery center for the procedure to occur there versus a hospital. Again, the amounts charged to both you, the member, and to us and CISC, the claims administrator, are very, very different. Ambulatory surgery centers are a fraction of the cost and will still provide the same benefit and outcome, often with the same surgeon and anesthesiologist that you would see in the hospital anyway. We had some comments made at one of the presentations, and I recognize that up here in the rural nature of your geographical location, you're probably going to see a lot of exceptions here. If you're living more than 30 miles away from an in-network ambulatory surgery center, which I think that's basically everyone here, if you cannot make an appointment within a reasonable amount of time, if there are clinical reasons for you to go to a facility hospital instead of an ambulatory surgery center, or if it's an emergency, those are the exceptions. So here's the link to find an in-network ambulatory surgery center. I highly recommend calling Blue Shield. Even if you know that an exception might be applied to you, call Blue Shield, really. They take notes. We can go back and kind of connect with them to see if this was discussed, what you were told, to make sure that the information that was provided to you was accurate and correct. Okay. Coordination of benefits. We've talked to a lot of members who are dual covered because the coverage that you have now doesn't allow you to any kind of opt-out options. So some people have coordination of benefits where you have two coverages. That makes sense in some cases, not for everyone. So if you have dual coverage, whatever coverage you, the employee, have, that's your primary coverage, and it's going to be secondary for your spouse or partner. If you're covering kids and you have dual coverage for the children, the kids' primary and secondary are based on the birthday rule, not the year, but whoever's birthday falls first within the calendar year. If my birthday is March and my husband's October, I'm going to be primary for our kids. He's going to be secondary. PPO, coordination of benefits. PPO to PPO really works really well. And that's the only thing that you guys are offering. So if you have coverage through an HMO as a secondary benefit, they're not going to play nice together. I would look at that. PPO to PPO, which is what you guys have now, they will play together nicely. So you should still have that coordination of benefits if that's something that you want to maintain with the dual coverage. Okay. Through the meetings we've been at, I hear over and over and over the frustration and difficulty that a lot of you have experienced around medications. So just a few things here. Navitus is going to be the new pharmacy PBM, the pharmacy benefit manager. They work with CISC really well. They will basically accept all pharmacies as in-network except Walgreens. They will not cover anything coming out of Walgreens. I don't even know if you have a Walgreens up here, but don't go to Walgreens, anywhere else. Couple of things here, and I know the frustration. If you are on a maintenance medication already, CISC is going to give, and you're getting 3 months at a time, CISC is going to give you 3 30-day supplies of medication before they start issuing out that 90-day medication for your maintenance meds. The reason for this, I'm a great example. I've been working with my mental health provider for over a year. We've tried all sorts of things. I have a cabinet, a pharmacy at my house of meds that I tried, they didn't work. I'm not going back for. This is, again, a built-in cost mitigation strategy. They don't want to be handing out all sorts of medications that are going to get wasted. So 3 30-day supplies before you get your 90-day management supply. I think the nearest Costco is in Ukiah? Yeah. So if you are a Costco member, actually, you don't have to be a Costco member. If Costco is an option for you, generics are free at Costco. So you can go there, you don't have to be a member. If you need to go to the pharmacy, just tell the guy at the gate, I'm going to the pharmacy, they'll wave you in. You can get free generics at Costco. They will also send you instantly an Instacart link that you can use to have your prescriptions delivered for free, as long as that prescription is something that can be mailed out. So you can get your free generics through an Instacart prescription delivered to your home, as long as it's a 60-mile radius. If you are a Costco member, you can also tag on your groceries to that free Instacart link and get your prescriptions and your groceries delivered for free within a 60-mile radius. Specialty drugs are, I think you guys go through Amazon or something now. Lumicera is going to be the specialty drug administrator. And then we called out a few participating pharmacies in your area. I'm not going to go through all of these just because there's a lot here, and we kind of already talked about a lot of it. So I'll let you guys review the slides for this. It's just some additional information about prescriptions. GLP-1s. I haven't gone to a conference in the last 3 years where GLP-1s were not the main or a major topic of discussion. GLP-1s are giving all sorts of people really, really great outcomes. There are also a lot of people who are abusing it. So through CISC, only type 2 diabetes diagnosis will be allowed to have a covered GLP-1. So if you're already on it for weight loss, something like that, sleep apnea, it won't be covered moving forward. If you have a type 2 diabetes diagnosis, you can continue to receive your GLP-1s. The amount of fiscal impact that the GLP-1s have had to the pharmacy side of the renewal are crazy. We've seen a huge spike in pharmacy trend, and pharmacy trend has actually finally outpaced medical trend. So CISC's overall pharmacy trend, I think before 2 years ago, was about 2.5%. And then we got a high renewal last year at 9.2%. And then we had an 11.1% renewal this year. That's going to skew that average. CISC is still managing their program very, very well, but the cost of GLP-1s is really, really having a huge impact on medical pharmacy in general, but also for our plans. And there's some stats down there that you can read through if you'd like. Okay, you guys are gonna get all new ID cards. So be sure to write your mailing address on your enrollment form, not your physical address, which actually it requests a residential address. You're gonna get 2 cards. I think this is the same as what you guys have now. They're both gonna be in the subscriber's name. So my card for myself says Elizabeth Matheny. The card I give my husband says Elizabeth Matheny. If you need additional cards for adult children, you can reach out to Blue Shield and ask for them. You'll just get the 2 standard. Here's some contact information. The proactive care plans, that Platinum Plus plan, the first one we went over, they're gonna get a digital card only, and the hub to get there is webtpa.com. July 1st and after, if you are seeing your providers, be sure to let them know that you have new insurance and be sure to give them the card that you have. Okay, a couple of resources for you. Blue Shield of California, you have your information there. Navitus, again, your pharmacy benefit manager. And then we have Nicole Weaver, who is not here today, but she will be the benefit specialist specifically assigned to your district after Angela and I have kind of completed open enrollment and onboarding. She'll be your point of contact for everything. She's absolutely wonderful, and I know you'll be in very, very good hands with her. With that said, feel free to reach out to Angela or myself to get yourself enrolled, but if you have questions in the future, you don't have to go through your district office folks if you don't want to. You certainly can if you do. You can always reach out to us, myself, if you have specific questions, claim issues, concerns, things like that. Okay, we're kind of gonna go through this pretty quickly. I think we've talked about a lot of this, and I know our list has already sent out quite a bit of this too. So here's the eligibility criteria. Basically, you're required to take coverage if you are 90 FTE or more. If you're anything below that, you can be offered. They're gonna make you sign a declination form that you were offered, but you're not gonna take it. Even if you are a 90% FTE and absolutely required to take the group coverage, there are reasons you could decline. This declination list here is separate from the WABI that we discussed earlier. So if you are enrolled in Medi-Cal, Medicare Parts A and B, TRICARE, or coverage through Covered California, the ACA marketplace with proof of subsidy, you can straight up decline coverage. You don't need to opt out through the WABI. You are just eligible to say no thank you. You do need to provide proof of coverage. This is a really nice feature. Right now, you guys have this, but it's a 12.5% discount per employee. Through CISC and RESIG, you have a 25% premium discount on the composite rate per person. So if you have a spouse or partner that works at any school district in California covered by CISC, they don't need to be covered through RESIG. You could have a district in Southern California where your partner or spouse works. As long as it is covered through CISC with a composite rate structure, both of you will receive a 25% reduction of those composite rates. So it's kind of making it a little bit more fair. Couple of things. I know you have some folks here who are married and working. I know we have a couple of people who are, working here and wanted to add a different district. All of the Mendocino County groups came in with the composite rates, so they'll all be eligible. However, Ukiah Unified is a tiered rate. So if you have a partner or spouse working at Ukiah and you have dual coverage, because theirs is a tiered rate, not composite, that discount won't apply to either. The enrollment form, the ladies in the office can help you fill this out. You can ask for an appointment with Angela or I, stop by on the 20th or 29th. But this is the form that you'll be completing. The top section is basically going to be completed by one of us. And then your employees will need to fill out section 2. So your information here, name, date of birth, contact info. You do not need to worry about the IPA or PCP fields, just skip over them. We do need you to complete this very small Medicare coverage section. I bet for most of you, you're just gonna answer no for it all. And then if you're enrolling spouse, partner, and or children, all of that goes here. Again, you can disregard the IPA and PCP. So we wanna make sure that we have name, date of birth, social. We wanna make sure that it's legible. If you have the ability to fill this out through the fillable PDF, please do. Sometimes handwritten documents come through and skews the eligibility if we can't tell if it's a 3 or an 8. A couple common issues that we see with forms, handwritten, again, if we can't read it, we can't guarantee it's gonna go in right. Missing required fields. The telephone number and email are required. In this case, I would recommend your personal email, maybe not your work email. One of the things that CISC is trying to do to boost engagement and education with their members is to send out this kind of gamified text or email. It's called Benefits Connect, and it's administered through Airbo. This is actually kind of a fun thing. I get a text once a month. It's information about my plan specifically, so I'm not getting information about the 100% plan or the 90% plan. I'm only getting benefit information that applies to the coverage that I selected. It also gives me access to the value-added benefits that are applicable with that service, which we'll get into in a little bit. You can interact with it. You can actually win win prizes by participating and playing. So it's just one way that, we're really trying to boost engagement and education. If you don't know that you have all of this, you don't know. And we're trying to really make sure people feel empowered to be their own advocate for their health. We recommend filling out the document on the fillable PDF. If you are signing it electronically, we do need a real DocuSign signature. A typed signature email will not work. Typed signature won't work. We need to show that there was a place, a person, a date stamp. The DocuSign does that. On my standard PDF, I have Elizabeth Matheny just in the standard cursive. That is not a DocuSign signature. This needs to be a true DocuSign signature, or have them fill it out online, print it, and sign it that way. Backup requirements. We've had a lot of questions about this. We want to make sure everybody knows what they need to bring in. If you are enrolling a spouse, we need page 1 of your 2025 1040. All financial information, we don't need to see that. You can redact that, and first 5 of the socials can be redacted as well. We will only take a marriage certificate if you've been married within the past 12 months. Otherwise, we will request your 1040. And the reason we ask for this is to ensure that the members on our coverage are eligible to receive the coverage, and those are eligible for the claims payouts. So we have lots of people who were married, 10, 15 years ago, gave us their marriage certificate. Are they married today? I don't know. So this ensures that we're making sure that, yes, you were married, you're still married as of this year, eligible dependent. Domestic partners, if you've been registered for less than a year, we need the California certificate of domestic partnership. If you've been registered domestic partners with the state of California for over a year, we need your tax return to show that you're filing jointly and your domestic partnership certificate. Or we need something with that domestic partnership that shows a shared dwelling. So mortgage statement, rental agreement, utility bill, something that has both names on it and a shared address. For children, we need a birth certificate. And for all of these documents, copies will do. We don't need you to bring in your original. You can bring us a copy, or we'll scan your originals and hand them right back to you. For some of the other children that might be covered, stepchildren or adopted children, we need the hospital birth certificate or the state birth certificate. If you've adopted, we need legal adoption or guardianship documents provided by a U.S. court. And all children, whether step, adopted, natural, they're eligible to remain covered on your plan through the end of the month in which they turn 26. If you are covering a disabled dependent, and they may be eligible for coverage after age 26, they need to be unmarried, claimed as a tax dependent. They need 6 months proof of prior coverage with no break under the employee. And we need a disabled dependent certificate from their provider. Let's see. That's exactly what we just went over. Okay, value-added services. We have, this is the packet, the thick stapled packet that you all have. We have so many amazing programs built in that are free of charge or very low cost, available through the program that you have through RESIG and SIS. So the packet has a front page of kind of a generalized menu of options, and then each page after that is a specific flyer with information about what the program is, how to contact them or engage them. So lots and lots of benefits available. I'm not going to go through all of these right now, but I wanted to point out a couple of them. There are a lot of telehealth benefits, and with access to care being such an issue, we really want to make sure people understand that they have access to a primary care physician through telehealth. You have access to MD Live, which is 24/7, kind of a nurse's hotline. Hey, do I go to the ER? Do I need to emergency? What do I do? You have Centivo for virtual primary care. So lots of very good telehealth benefits. Maven is a pre, during, and postpartum benefit. If you sign up before your second trimester, you'll get 6 months of free diapers after delivery, which is pretty cool. Hinge Health is a virtual PT. You can do PT at home with a provider. They give you all sorts of measurements and devices and gadgets, and you talk to your provider. They do it right there with you. Sounds a little weird, but saves you a trip to the PT. It might be worth it. Lantern Cancer Care, I can't say enough about this. This program is really, really robust and really incredible. If you have any kind of the C word diagnosis, whether it's you or a partner or a dependent, I highly recommend looking at what they offer. Not only will they take a look at your case, but they will send your case and notes to a top specialist oncologist in whatever area your cancer has been diagnosed. They'll make sure that, if there are clinical studies that you could join, if there are new therapies or modalities that might not have been introduced or discussed, that everything is being relooked at and you're getting the highest level of care. It also provides a lot of family support if somebody in your family has the C word. There's lots of stuff to support the family members around them. Vita is personal health coaching online. That's a really great one. We already talked about it in D Live. Meaty is it's a menopause support. I'm pretty sure I'm in perimenopause. I gave him a call. I haven't followed up, but hot flashes, anything going through your body that's changing, regardless of what stage you're at, you can check out Meaty. There's Tivity, which are gym discounts and at-home gym programs. There's specifically a hip, knee, and spine surgical benefit. None of us want to go into surgery. We want to avoid it for as long as possible. They'll work with you to see if there are other options before surgery, and if not, they'll help you through the procedures. Well Theory is the newest value-added benefit. It's specifically an autoimmune support application. And I've actually had some feedback. We've gotten a few folks engaged with it. They absolutely love it. Even if you do not have an autoimmune diagnosis, but you have autoimmune symptoms, they'll do a full gut map on you. They'll dig up whatever they can, then they'll work with you to address whatever it is that they find. I mean, if nothing else, get the gut map and be done and just have that information. And then we have health screenings through Quest. We can talk about that next year. It's a next year thing. But we work with our districts to organize a Quest health screening event. It's a very important event where people can get some biometric information and data. That way they have it and they're able to control what they do with that information. Hopefully they get anything that's flagged dealt with a provider. Some programs could be subject to the deductible, just putting that out, but for the most part, these are all going to be free. And then lastly, the Employee Assistance Program. The Employee Assistance Program is separate from the value-added benefits, and this will basically do anything you can think of. Confidential support for personal and work-related issues. So if you're working with somebody who you're having a tough time with, if at the district office you need to do any kind of employee discipline, this is a great resource. Mental health counseling, stress, anxiety, depression, I've used it for that. It's great for that. Help with family or relationship issues, legal and financial concerns. So if you need help drawing up a trust because you've not done that, it's me. You can call them. They'll give you, I think it's a 30-minute consultation for free with legal. You can go in there, get a trust, and then you just take it somewhere else and get it finalized. Wellness and stress management, referrals for child and elderly care. If you're not dealing for one, you might be dealing for the other, and that can be stressful either way. And then up to 6 virtual therapy sessions per incident. So if me and my spouse are having a really, really hard time, and I need therapy, I'm going to have 6 sessions of therapy available to me. He's going to have 6 sessions of therapy available to him. If as a result of whatever is going on between he and I'm having problems with my kids now too, I can have an additional 6 sessions of therapy because it's a different incident. If my children are eligible for it, I think they have to be 18 or older, they could have the 6 sessions of therapy also. The EAP is also special because it applies to everybody. You don't have to be enrolled on a district coverage. You don't have to be enrolled as a spouse or partner. And if your niece or nephew, whoever, your best friend from college, is sleeping on your couch, they're a member of your household, they have access to the EAP as well. So this is a really, really wonderful benefit for everybody in your home, even if they're not covered. If you have an adult child that is no longer eligible to be on your benefits, they can use this. So it's a really, really wonderful resource. And you have some information about it in the value added benefit packet. And that's the end. Do we want to take questions or we want to follow up and address those later? Are there any questions?